said, or we have to go back to the videos and see what you've said.
Sure.
Thank you so much. So, first of all, if you could introduce yourself and really tell us what you do in your company and what your responsibilities are.
Okay, so my name is Vaishali Kanavi.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a team lead senior recruiting partner here.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been 7 years I'm with Cerner,
Mm-hmm.
and I do take care of the scheduling team here.
Mm-hmm.
So I lead that team, and I pretty much work on all the leadership positions and some of the middle management as well.
Okay.
And coming to the Versant part of it, this is like one of the major thing in our recruiting process,
Mm-hmm.
wherein it's a knockout kind of a round. If they clear Versant with our cutoff, then only the people would be allowed for the next technical rounds or whatever rounds it would be.
I see. Makes sense.
So in a way, Versant is again Cerner's integral part of recruiting, I would say that.
Mm, I see. So it's a big criteria for you when recruiting.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
just so that we get a bit of context, what
Mhm.
kind of business is Cerner? What kind of roles do you recruit for it?
Okay, so we are in healthcare IT organization.
Mm,
So we are in product development company into healthcare.
I see.
So we do hire, ours is an IT company.
Mm-hmm.
It's very strange that like we have adopted to Versant. Maybe we are one of the companies which adopted, so, I mean, Versant, we being an IT organization, most of the times when you even look at your client details as well, it's more of an IT ES industry,
I see.
right? So we hire engineers, architects, we hire consultants, we hire maybe test engineers,
Mm,
and quite a few of functional roles as well.
okay, makes sense. More context. And so, as part of your job, when you're in your role, do you have a direct relationship with test takers, or basically people who apply to the jobs you're looking for?
Yes. As in I mentioned, like I do take care of the scheduling team.
Mm,
We do really take a look at like and how many people took Versant, what like and what been our conversion rate from in Versant perspective, what are the different kind of problems we faced, and then we reach out to Pearson for like and this is what it is like and can we really come up with something and stuff like that. As in like an earlier it was only 50 minutes test earlier. Now we have asked for like an it can be reduced like and with the same parameters like and speaking can be really understood. So that's when like and we adopted to 17 minutes most of our early careers campus interviews and everything.
mm,
So I do, I mean, like in I'm the person who actually look at all part of Versant and the interview scheduling and the good show and everything from that perspective. So I do reach out to the candidates as well and to understand like in how did the test go, did you face any difficulties and things like that.
mm.
Not on a day-to-day basis, my team takes care of it, but I do take a call on like in monthly once we do really look at all the options.
Okay, great, makes sense. And so am I right to assume that you use Scorekeeper to do stuff like you mentioned? Okay, great. Just out of curiosity, do you know which version you use, Scorekeeper 1 or Scorekeeper 2, or you don't really?
Uh, s- I'm not very sure about
Okay,
it. I know only two things. One is version with 15 minutes, and the other one is an app-based, which is 70 minutes one.
okay, great. No worries
Yeah.
about it. And yeah, I was wondering whether you use any other tools in order to manage your job. For example, we've heard some companies start using ATS, application
Mm-hmm.
tracking software,
Mm-hmm.
applicant traffic. Do you use that, and or not? If not, do you use other tools or software,
We do that like we have Conexa.
which is a
So it's an
ATS?
yeah,
Yeah.
yes. It's an IBM tool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what we use it for recruiting.
Okay, makes sense. And is it integrated with Versant?
Not really. We were actually trying to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So that maybe our next task, which we were really looking at, like if that can be integrated. So it'll be easy for us to really move ahead with the candidates, like if we can get everything in one source of truth.
Yeah, I guess that would be very helpful for you, right?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
great. Um, so let me check my questions. Um, so who are the people who are taking the test? So they are all, if I'm not wrong, people who apply to jobs, to the jobs, to the open roles that you have. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And is there is that the only reason why you would ask someone in your company or someone applying for your company to take the tests?
So there are two ways of looking at it. Like, and the people who would directly come and apply in a career portal, and the other would be like in from portals and the LinkedIn, social medias, and all. So if we find anyone suitable for the particular requirement, we would ask them to apply in our career source, and for those people, like we will have Versant done.
Hmm. I see. And have you always been using Versant as a test for your applicants?
Mm, I think it's been close to 5 years that like we are using Versant. Prior to that, like we didn't use that.
I see.
Yeah.
And if you were already in the business, do you remember any of the reasons why Versant was a appealing product to switch to?
Maybe one reason was like, and there were a couple of instances wherein, like, we being an US-based MNC and being in healthcare,
Hmm.
we do have our clients throughout the globe. So, and it becomes very important for us to assess communication in an objective manner.
Mm, mm,
And when we did the market survey about what is good, what is not good, so at that point of time, like we could understand, like, and yes, Versant is one of the best tool which is available in the market.
hmm.
And the second thing is my husband works in Pearson,
Oh, I
so I
see.
pretty much aware of it.
That's great. um, are you familiar with any competitors in the market to Versant?
I think yes, we did actually checked with a couple of other people as well. I don't remember the name though. It was something with
Okay.
Talent Pro or something. And there were two people, like which was like in from a price perspective, which was very reasonable.
Hmm.
But when we really did the mock and all, like we did find like in quite a bit of technical glitches.
I see.
And Cerner is an organization which is like in pretty much very clear about their thought process. We want to get the best. And the second thing is like it was tried and tested.
Okay.
So that's when we stick to
Yeah. So
Versant.
we're confident about what to choose.
Yes,
Great.
yes.
And we've heard of other competitors like SVAR from Aspiring Minds. Is that something you've ever heard of?
Your voice is breaking. I couldn't hear you
Yeah,
clearly.
sorry. I was just saying we've heard in India the competitor called SVAR, from made by Aspiring Minds. Was
Oh, yes, Swar. Yes,
Is that
yes.
something that you've heard of?
Swar.
And if so,
Yes,
what are your
yes,
thoughts?
yes. Swar.
Yeah, and have if you have ever heard of them, what are your thoughts on them? And yeah, what are your thoughts on SVAR, really?
Uh, I think like we did a test as well. Like when we don't just go with one, vendor or something like that when we are deciding on. I think we did it with Swar as well. Not very sure though. I was part of one of the iteration, but not the second or third one.
Mm,
It didn't really go well, so we didn't really opt for
okay,
that.
no worries. Great. Um, so when you ask someone to take the test, I believe they have a few choices on how to take the test.
Mm-hmm.
What are the different choices they have?
Different choices. I'm sorry, I didn't get you.
Um, they can take I if I'm not mistaken, they can take the test on different devices.
Yes, so they can take it on a laptop, they can take it on a desktop, a desk phone, and they can take it on their mobile as well.
I see. And
Yes.
who chooses how to take it?
Okay, so if it's in our office premises, we have dedicated laptops for Versant.
Mm.
So we do normally opt for the laptop one,
Mm-hmm.
but for most of the campus hiring and the early careers, we do send the TIN numbers to them, and they normally take it on the mobile app-based one. That's very convenient.
Okay, great. And in what case would the person would be coming to the office?
There are certain cases like in India is a geography wherein the internet connectivity is not very great when you don't have a proper Wi-Fi.
Mm-hmm.
And there are certain jobs wherein like in people would be in early careers, they would not be, they'll be in a PG or somewhere wherein 4G network may not help them that the way the Wi-Fi would work.
I see.
Hence, we do call those kind of a people. So when we are talking about the app-based thing, I have one of the suggestion if I can really pitch in now itself, or
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna ask any questions later.
Go for it. I think it's good timing.
Okay, so app-based one, certain things which we faced were people were taking it, and maybe before the scores get downloaded, they have exited or they have deleted the app.
Mm,
So those cases we won't get the results.
I see.
So
Yeah.
that's one of the major problem which we face in early careers. So one of the suggestions maybe my team and I have come up with was like in maybe certain instructions for an app-based one. If we give the instructions that like and don't delete it, like and
Mm-hmm.
don't quit until you get like blah blah stuff, that would definitely help people to understand what are the do's and don'ts for the
Yeah.
app-based one.
Yeah, it's a feedback we've got a lot we need to fix
Okay.
that. We need
Okay.
to. Great. So are the people you recruit to the senior people of do they often come to the office then or do you ask them to take?
We give the virtual one.
Okay, so you give the tin to them and etc.
Yes.
Okay, great. So yeah, I'll ask as you expected. You will ask you a few questions which are more granular and specific to the Versant app itself. So
Mm-hmm.
when you before the applicant takes the test, you probably will have to warn them that they need to take the test. Could you briefly explain what the process is before they take the test? What are the tasks you do and how are they informed and etc.?
Okay, so we have downloaded one template from Pearson website itself, which gives like in what all different things we have, what are the different parameters, how does it really work. That's one of the thing like which we send it with the interview call letter. Okay, and the second thing is a YouTube demo link.
Mm,
We do send that in the interview call letter. When they come to our premises to take the test, the first thing is like in the trial of your microphone. If your voice is like an audible, it's in the correct pace or not.
mm-hmm.
So we ask them to do that. And then we do tell them like and be very crisp and clear with your communication because it's going to give only 25 seconds for each question and it's not repetitive.
Great.
Yeah, so these are quite a few things which we take care of.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's pretty much about it because the template says everything. If they come up with any questions, we do ask them to go through the before starting the test, like you can go through the instructions and test your mic and then go for the
Mm.
and just don't pick any calls. Keep your phone away from you and you should be in a proper I mean like if they are in our premises it's in like in completely
Yeah,
dedicated
yeah,
interview
yeah,
rooms we
yeah.
have. If they are taking at their place we do tell them like and just be away from a noisy place and just make sure like it's not going to be repetitive and things like
Makes
that.
sense. And what timing do you send that email within the application process?
I mean, like, and once we talk to the candidate and once they confirm it, it depends on like an at least couple of days we do give a gap for them to come for an interview. 48 hours is our SLA to keep candidate informed about it. Sometimes it would be like, and maybe we would get the next week slot or whatever it is, but we do give them all the instructions while sending the call letter itself,
Okay, great.
irrespective of when the interview start.
So it's once they've provided their CV, once you are interested, you tell them we are interested in an interview. However, we would need you to take a Versant app. Is that how it works?
Yes.
And would
Yes.
they take the Versant test before the interview or after the interview?
It depends. Quite a few candidates, when they come for an interview, Versant would be the first round, followed by other interviews. If they are like an outstation candidate, or like maybe Bangalore being a place wherein like from one place to other place it would take really longer time, we do give them virtual version a day prior the interview date, and then next day we will conduct the
Okay,
interviews.
great, great. So it depends on the candidate.
Yes.
Great. And before you start the test,
Mm-hmm.
um, do you have to customize anything on Scorekeeper? For example, um, starting a session, deciding how long they have to take the test. Are there actions like that you need to take before you assign someone to a test?
Not really. I think it's in like in predefined time. If I'm not wrong,
Okay.
like the first one is 50 minutes and the other one is 17 minutes.
Okay, great. So as soon once you've given them a tin, they can take it literally anytime, anywhere.
No, once, so if it's in virtual one,
Mm-hmm.
we do normally give them like in 24 hours.
I see.
So things shouldn't get wasted if they're not taking, we can't really keep waiting for that. So once we send the team like and we normally give like in 24 hours to 48 hours, that's on based on like if they request for a extension, but not beyond that.
Okay, great. And let's say if they didn't take it, do you cancel the tin yourself?
Yes, we do tell them like, and if there is invalid reason, we do follow up on that. If they
Mm-hmm.
say that like, and no, I'm interested, I'm not interested, based on the candidate's thing, like we do take the tin back. But most of the
Mm,
cases, we do have candidates who will take it.
I see. Makes sense. And during this kind of phase before they take the test,
Mhm.
Do you interact with Pearson?
Uh, Before taking it, I didn't get you.
Yeah, within that phase, before they take the test, are there any times or circumstances where you would get in touch with Pearson?
Certain scenarios wherein the candidate have taken test, but the scores are not displayed. It comes as a not scored, or like in maybe if we have four parameters, three parameter score has come and the one parameter score has not come. So in
Mm,
those scenarios, we do reach out to Pearson technical team.
okay, great. Makes sense. And so let's say they have got the email from you, and they are ready to take the test and they take the test. During the test, is there anything you need to be careful to do, or is it completely is the ball into the test taker's side at that point?
So I don't think so during the test, like we have to be there, or like in there's no action on us.
On you?
Yes, but when you take virtual Versant, we had certain scenarios wherein it was taken by someone else. That's when we just thought of like in using the proctoring as well
Mm,
with video one. So that's kind of like in check for us. But other than that, like I don't think like there are any action items.
okay, great. How today do you try to minimize risk for proctoring?
Mm-hmm.
How do you deal with it? How do you deal with cheating and proctoring?
Okay, so we don't, we try to avoid a lot of virtual Versant. It's only the campus which we do it, wherein the placement coordinators, and it's like an the university responsibility that the right person is taking Versant. So wherein we don't really see any challenges or risk factors there, the other person taking it. But generally, for the senior roles and all, we don't really face that. We do pretty much know that like in what kind of background they have come in. We become a little conscious if it's for early careers.
Okay, great. So in your specific role, as you focus more on senior and mid management, it's not that much of an issue. But
No.
some of your people in your team, it might be more of an issue. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yes.
And would it be right to say that it would help to have some proctoring features into Versant?
Yes.
Okay.
At least like in the way we take the online exams, once in a while, if the video can be captured who is taking it, that would help.
Okay, great. So that we can see that is the face of the person who's applying.
Yes.
Makes sense.
Yes.
Great. Um, Do you hear from test takers or from applicants basically um, that they have faced any problems during the test or things were not very understandable? Any difficulties they faced that you've heard?
So when I really look at more of, I mean, like in the Versant takers, when I really map the scoring and everything,
Mm-hmm.
one of the thing is like, what do you call it as the reading part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Every candidate, I would say that like maybe about 99 percentile of the people score very less in reading.
I see.
So that's kind of like an people have scored like in 70 out of 70 in speaking, writing, listening, which are the major aspects of it.
Mm-hmm.
I literally get tends to look at people who have scored lesser marks in reading. So I would say that like that's one part I mean like and that would be my recommendation from my experience from past 5 years is
Mm-hmm.
if we can cut down that marks or like the paragraph which we have for reading, if we can minimize that.
Okay, great, thanks. Um, have you had any feedback from test takers saying that their app dropped off or they needed to, yeah, that the app dropped off and they couldn't go to the end of the test?
Not really. No,
Not
I
really.
think like maybe couple of them, but not like, and we have done thousands of them. Like
It's
it's
not a
it's
big,
very
yeah.
negligible numbers.
Okay.
So most of the times, like if they don't use a proper microphones or something, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's the major problem. They would say that like I wasn't able to like, and whatever I said, like it was not audible or whatever stuff like that.
I see. Great.
Yeah.
And so some people stated that a resume test feature, if the app dropped off, would be something they would really be looking for. That's not something that it might be useful, but it's not something very important for you as the numbers are negligible. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay, great. Um, Something you have touched on, though, is the problem that can happen with mic and volume and etc.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a problem you often face?
So even I have taken Versant, so I pretty much know that like, and it would give you an option when you are setting up Versant. Before starting it, you can trial it and you can check are you audible, is it at the right pace or not.
Yeah.
So we do explain that to the candidate and they do it, but quite a few observations were like that. Like if a person is soft spoken, even if the mic has come like an the your audible or your audible range is at the right pace and all those things, but we have seen that those people have scored pretty lesser than even if their
Mm,
English is
it's
good.
pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's something like I don't know if we can do something about it, but I would say that like that's one of the observation.
Okay, great. So, would you be interested in something that would be more clever in assessing the noise environment and the
Yes.
voice of the person before the
Yes.
test? Okay,
Yes.
so that's something that would be quite helpful for you. Great. And have you heard have you heard anyone having issues starting the test, not understanding how to put the tin, etc.?
Normally, I have a team. They would help them with the list, and they open it, and they would say that like here is where you have to add the tin and all.
Mm,
So I haven't come across with any such problems.
I see. Great. Um, so depending on the scorekeeper version you use,
Hmm.
the identity of the person taking the test is not in scorekeeper. It's just a tin number.
Yes.
And what are your thoughts about capturing the name identity of the test taker before the test so that you have their number on scorekeeper?
Hmm.
That you have their name on scorekeeper.
That would be helpful. Maybe now we do it very manually.
Hmm.
Whenever we are giving it to the candidate, we make sure that like what 10 we have given it to which candidate.
Yeah,
We make a note of it and then we give the tin. So yeah, if that would come, nothing like it.
yeah. Is that something you do on Excel?
Yes.
Okay, great. I think everyone using Versant app and Scorekeeper does it in Excel, which is really bad in my opinion. It should be in the system. Great. Yeah. Any other things that you find annoying, that you find frustrating, related to the test? As I tried to cover some of them, like capturing names,
Okay.
assessing the environment, and etc. But if you have any other thoughts,
I think I have quite a few things which I have made a note
oh
of.
wow,
Just
amazing!
give me a
Thank you so
minute.
much. That's great.
Mm, just give me a minute. Okay. So I am sure like if you can see this in the Teams, I'll just paste it,
Oh
whatever
yeah,
notes
that
I
would
have
be
made.
amazing. Thank you so much. Great, thank you. Can I take a bit of time to read it? Just 1 minute.
Yes.
Yeah, completely agree with the first point. That's something we've noticed. The instructions aren't clear enough. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. Restructure the reading session. So that's something you've briefly mentioned.
Yes.
The minimum score is assigned before.
The reading section which I mentioned,
Can you elaborate on the third point?
not scored one.
Yeah.
Okay, so we hire quite a few people for our medical billing team. So most of the times what happens is like and we get an error message saying that like not scored one and not scored two. And the reason is given whatever I have mentioned it there, I have just copied and pasted that.
Mm,
So because of that, we have to use one more tin for the candidate because we haven't got any scores. And the second time we do get the scores.
that's interesting. Okay, so you almost wasting a tin just because,
Yes.
and it was person's responsibility, but you have to pay for it.
Yes.
Okay, makes total sense. And so I guess the not scored two is something very
Yes.
similar.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. That makes total sense. Thanks. What else can I think of? So we've already touched on the retrieving score problem.
Mm-hmm.
That people don't get their scores because they don't upload their result. But apart from that, after taking the test, can you just very briefly tell me what happened? So they have taken the test, scores have been
Mm-hmm.
uploaded. You can
Mm-hmm.
view the scores whenever you want.
Mm-hmm.
What happens from there?
So we do maintain our master tracker. So we do have like in what day how many candidates have come in because we do update them in our offer letters as well what has been their scores.
Hmm.
So we I think like we can download at any point of time and we do maintain it, but I don't know how many days the validity would be if I have missed on particular days versus scores.
Oh, I see. Okay, so that's something that you would want to have for longer.
Yes.
Yeah, makes
Yeah.
sense. And just in more irrelevant of Versant, or the app in specifically, you have the scores. Do you
Mm-hmm.
have a minimum score you want them to hit? So can you
Yes.
tell me more about that minimum score? If yes, if passed, if not passed, what happens next?
Okay. So only if they pass like with the cutoff marks, only then we will move them for the further rounds. Like maybe if a person is coming for an architect position, they would be moved ahead with the I mean interviews.
Hmm.
Post that. If they don't clear it, they will be sent back
Okay.
because they are not meeting our requirement.
Okay. And that's something you would set from the beginning, the minimum score?
Yes.
Okay, makes
Yes.
sense. And would you find it useful if Schoolkeeper would tell you on top of the name of the person whether they have passed or not passed and what to do with it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And that's something that is not happening today, am I right?
No.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Makes sense. And And again, I'm repeating myself a bit, but that would be amazing, even better if all of this was integrated with your ATS.
Yes.
Yeah, makes sense. What do you do? And I believe we might have touched on some of these things because we've covered a lot of problems, but
Mm-hmm.
and it's fine if you repeat yourself if I make you repeat yourself, but
Mm-hmm.
um let's say the test is over. For what reasons, in which scenarios would you call Pearson and complain about an issue that you have or an issue to fix?
Okay. So most of the times it would be like a not scored one.
Oh, yeah, so the two reasons here. Yeah.
Yes. Otherwise, like sometimes we do get three parameter scores and the fourth parameter we don't get the score.
So
That's
parameters in the skill.
yes. I mean parameters in the skill like maybe speaking, writing, and listening are there, but reading I'm not getting it. Or like in other way around, reading, writing, and speakings are there, like and listening is not.
Okay.
It's we are not able to see that.
Okay. Great. Um, yeah, and so yeah, we talked about all the improvements that should be done. So I believe there are four ways of looking at it. There's improvements you wish as someone who's recruiting, you wish it had, improvements that users, test takers wish it had, and maybe improvements that you wish it had because you've heard that aspiring minds or some other
Mhm.
product have done something like this. We've covered a lot of them, but now that I've kind of summed up, can you think of anything else, or is that kind of all you can think of?
I think at this point of time, I can think of only this
Okay,
based on my experience
yeah,
here.
no worries at all. Um, I think I'm quite surprised I've gone. I think it's also because it's one of the last interviews, so we kind of heard a lot of feedback, so I could predict a bit the
Mhm.
problems. So yeah, I've gone much quicker than what I thought I would. Um, yeah, I wonder whether Laura is with us. You probably have noticed, but I was wondering if whether Laura had a few questions to ask. But other than that, I think we're pretty much done.
No, I'm alright.
Yeah. Okay. Hmm. I'm just a bit surprised we went really quick, but I genuinely think we don't have any other questions to ask you. So yeah, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much.
It's really it was really good feedback, and we could validate some of the problems that we had.
Mhm.
And yeah, if you have any other problems that you think you forgot, feel free to contact us again or send us an email.
Sure, sounds good.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Nice to
Thank you.
meet you.
Bye.
Bye.
Have a good day. Bye bye.
Bye bye.